All right, welcome back. Dark Side beating
percussive pizza time diplomacy.
The most difficult name in the world.
Say that name anymore.
I know. Who also sent us pizzas? Anyway, let's take a look at how the bracket is currently, because we will have a repeat of last year. We'll have Pandemic Legion versus Dark Side. Dark Side beating out Pandemic Legion in Alliance Tournament 9. Unreloaded versus Godfathers. No matter who wins these fights, it's going to be a tough way through. Either Hun.
Yeah.
When did that match happen last year?
Last year was first round, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you, as soon as PL saw the brackets and saw that Hun is on the same side, or not, saw that Dark Side is on the same side as them, everyone's blood pressure rose like 50 points.
Well, that's bound to be a good match. All right, so we have a new guest, CCP.is, which some people might recognize from the forums, devlogs, and everything else regarding UI. So what do you do at CCP?
I'm a user interface programmer for Team SuperFriends.
All right, cool. So what is some of the stuff you've done?
For Inferno, I made a new war deck UI and war reports and kill reports. It's like most of the stuff I did for that release.
So what are you doing for the next one?
For the August release, I'm just doing a few changes to the saved fittings.
And then, of course, we have one later in the year, which I don't know how much we've talked about yet. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about sightseeing and falling down.
Okay.
So you took some of these commentators out to the countryside in Iceland.
Yeah.
So where did they go and who got hurt?
On Thursday, Karkur and I took Sastra to see a really nice waterfall.
All right.
And you have to hike like up it, and then when you get above the waterfall, you have to like cross a pretty wide river. And like people who are used to crossing rivers on their toes, they like take a look at it and like figure out which way they want to go. And I was like looking at it and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna step on the flat rocks because they're slippery.
Yes.
But then Sastra was like, this flat rock looks really nice. So I couldn't step on that, so he just fell flat on his face and he got like all really wet.
I didn't realize we made fun of him for like a whole day. But he was actually above a waterfall. Like he could have potentially rolled a distance and then maybe perished.
The number one cause of death in Iceland. Falling over waterfalls.
It's a dangerous place.
That would have been slightly awkward.
But
we could have dedicated the tournament to Zastra.
Yeah.
And we would still have 4 commentators, so we would have been fine.
Yeah.
it would have been really sad. But at least I wouldn't have to bring him back.
True, he wouldn't have gotten water all over your car.
Yeah, it'd be so messy. But instead of helping him, I text message CCP streaks. Oh my god, Sastra fell in the river. It was pretty funny. But then we took another hike yesterday where we went to a valley called Reykjadalur, which has like a hot river where you can bathe in. And he was just walking on flat ground and fell.
I was not just walking on flat ground. I was running up the side of a hill
to
impress. I wanted to impress Lazarus with my running on hills ability, and it didn't work out. And I fell and cut my arm up pretty
I
good.
was like, oh my god, I can't, I'm not bleeding, I'm bleeding. I was like, I thought we would have to call the helicopter or something to rescue him.
It was pretty bad.
But then he went into the river with like his bleeding wounds and gave everybody AIDS.
Well, all right. Well, that was a fairly good trip you guys have been on since you came here.
It's been amazing. I've been here, this is my 5th year, and I've never gotten to leave the city.
Yeah.
And this week we spent tons of time outside the city. It was pretty awesome.
We actually managed to time the Alliance tournament in a way that a lot of people are on vacation and can do stuff instead of always having it like next to a big release and everyone's at work just chugging away, and you guys have actually gotten out of town.
Yeah, it's been great.
I came back to town to bring you guys out of town.
Wow.
I've been on vacation for 3 weeks and I still have 1 week left.
Yeah, nobody here works at all in the summer. It's kind of weird.
No, it's fairly relaxed.
It's because the winter is so depressing. So.
Take the summer off. Yep. Work during.
I think it's a good reason to come to FanFest. I've never come to FanFest, and I have always been sort of skeptical because I don't like partying and having fun with other people. Yeah. And so it's hard to find a reason to come to FanFest. Apparently it's a lot of fun and everybody drinks. But now that I know there's really awesome stuff to do outside the city, it's actually really close. It's very hard to turn down any reason to come here. So
it's also more manageable than coming in November. Now that we moved it, because November was kind of terrible too.
It's pretty much the worst time in Iceland. It's just like cold and rain and dark.
Yes. And March it's a little bit less cold.
Yeah, but in April it's really nice.
Yes. It'll be nice. I think it's because, of course, the pricing of flying people out here.
Yeah.
But having like a fan fest in July or something would be like pretty much the most awesome thing ever. But you know,
as long as no one cares about darkness for sleeping in.
Yes. All right. Let's get a quick team versus team sheet for the next match. It's Mildly Intoxicated versus Raiden. This is one of Kill 2's favorites, isn't it?
I think it's one of the most interesting. I have Mildly Intoxicated picked for the end, but I don't have the best reason for that. They've seemed really solid. I mean, it looks here like they're undefeated. They've beat some good teams. They haven't maybe had the toughest lineup, but they're certainly good.
They did beat the toughest competitor of all, though. The commentator CCP team.
That you know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It hadn't registered to me why I respected them, and it's because they were the only team that beat us in the exhibition matches. And they beat us with a team that, like a composition we beat in another match, and they did it really convincingly. So
Raiden have done well. They beat Heretic Nation, which made it into the final.
They have also surprisingly managed to exist.
Yep, and yeah. Well, if you look at their flagship name, their Balgorn is actually called Stoffer Disband This.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, a little.
I don't even understand what this joke is. Can you?
It was because during one of the weekends I said that I was surprised that Raiden were still here because CCP Shrieks told me that they were disbanded.
Okay.
And as usual, it was just a lesson to not listen to CCP Shrieks because he lies.
Okay.
Anyway, let's look at the match before. So Darkseid brought Vindicators Kronos and a Myrmidon. The Myrmidon seems like a bit of an odd choice compared to the other Vindicator setups we've seen.
We haven't seen a ton of them. They're a bit expensive at 13 points, but you can get a lot of utility out of them. The last time where we saw them used really well was Hydra's setup in the 8th tournament, where they got to the finals, and then lost to PL that year. But it's basically the same kind of use we're seeing here. They would have used it for gang links, for E-War in the mids, for drone damage, and then the rest of the highs were used by newts, not guns. So it didn't have guns. We weren't seeing any guns firing from it. It was newting. Probably going to have 2 gang links, then had tracking disruptors. So you just got a lot for that package. As long as all of those things fit into your setup, it's good. If you're only using a couple of those, like 5 things, then it's not. But as long as your setup can take advantage of all that.
What about the Proteuses on the other side? We've seen a few of them. We haven't seen a tremendous amount of them. Well, what does that setup do?
I mean, it's not too much different than Vindicators, I guess. It's a high damage setup. It's maybe a little more agile than the Vindicators. It doesn't have the web bonus, but it has a scram bonus instead. Scram range instead of efficacy. So it has a harder time slowing stuff down, but it doesn't need things to go quite as slow. I don't know what the big trade-off is there.
A lot of the Scram subsystem, though.
Okay.
The Scram subsystem's the Hammerhead one.
Okay.
And they've almost.
So they're just brawlers.
Yeah,
they're just like Slipners, basically. They're like slower armor Slipners.
Very, very tanky. So as long as your logistics is up, they're almost impossible to kill from any setup. Yeah. You can tank a Vindicator as long as you have your logistics up. Yeah. You can probably tank 2, actually.
Yeah. And of course, that's exactly what happened in this match. Their logistics died. But surprising low amount of damage from a high DPS setup. What kept the Proteuses off the Darkseid team?
They all got webbed really fast. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of webbing on them, seeing a lot of tracking disruption, which would have hurt their ability to hit the smaller ships. And then rest of their setup got picked off really fast. So their Proteuses were saved to last, but Darkseid was just able to pick off the rest of the team one by one first, which is the proper way to do it. Pizza should know, from experience I can say there is no shame to be had in losing to Darkseid. It is I'd even say they're the best team to lose to. And only the highest quality of teams lose to Darkseid.
Yeah, of course, rematch of that PL Darkseid match last year, which is going to be interesting. A bit of a grudge there. Mildly Intoxicated versus Raiden. Let's get your predictions.
I'm going with Mildly on this one.
Me too.
Me too.
I'm going to go with Raiden, who certainly exists.